Hi, Anand. Nice meeting you again. How are
Hi,
you?
Sonia. Nice to see you again. I'm doing great. How about you?
I'm good, and I feel spring already all over my body. It's like a beautiful surge of summer is here already. It feels
Yeah,
that way. How
yeah,
about you?
definitely have that sense as well. It feels like early spring, yeah, even though it's just beginning of February.
hmm So now you had a session not long ago, and what did you find? The session, Quantum Healing Hypnosis Technique session. We call it QHHT, and we just call it the session. So how did you find your session?
Yeah, I had my session about 3 weeks ago with you, and it was great. Just found it really unique in terms of being able to just talk through a lot of things and bring them up to the forefront of the mind and have specific questions that you can ask the higher intelligence.
Mhm.
And so that was really great. And yeah, it was a unique experience being put under the hypnotic kind of state, relaxation, and just allowing like words to come forth that I didn't really, pre-plan, and just being able to trust what's coming up. So that was a really cool experience, and just been listening to the tape a little bit since then and trying to integrate the different things. And each time it's you get a different understanding of it.
Fantastic. So you're following, listening the recording very nicely.
Mhm.
And then what did you realize the most important thing from the session that you learned?
Well, realizing that each experience, when you kind of look at it from an objective place, it's like it keeps coming back. It's like, okay, no matter what happened, what was the purpose of that? And then that's kind of helpful in terms of looking at like, what's the purpose of what you're going through, what's coming up, things that you're dealing with. Like, it just keeps putting that focus back on, and then it makes you think like, okay, there must be a good purpose for this. So I guess just a more easy sense of trust and more willingness to investigate the elements of what's going on.
Hmm, very nice. So any dreams that did you find become sort of a come to your attention after the
Uh,
session?
yeah, not specific ones, and not immediately after, but I would say like in the week or 2 weeks, 3 weeks following, yeah, start to be a little bit more dreams.
Mm,
I think as the conscious sort of integrates through the tape listening, and
mm.
then yeah, just not even specific messages, but definitely more vividity to the dreams. Um, and yeah, more noticeable dream activity for sure.
Mm, very nice. So, there are some people who think that the hypnosis should be sleeping. And what was your experience while you were under the trance?
So it was a very interesting blend. It felt like quite alert because obviously I'm responsive the whole time that I'm under, or I don't even know if it's under, but you're in that state, right? So
Mhm.
just felt very responsive and alert, but at the same time, like extremely relaxed, especially through the body. And then I
Mm.
felt like the rhythm of the breathing and all of that just felt like very easy. Like the whole body's in like a slow down kind of mode.
Mhm. So you were totally aware that you were talking, and as well you were totally aware when the images came,
Mhm.
and then people are now their vibrations are raised. So I'm letting people know as a practitioner point of view that they will be aware. But some people are really reading Dolores books and going back olden days as oh yeah, I have knocked out and I shouldn't be remembering. So they're thinking they're not doing it right.
Yeah.
So what's your knowledge about that?
Well, that's exactly the part that I think when you look back, and if you have a doubt, I think that's the thing that sticks out the most. It's like contradictory. So like, how can I be so with it, but not speaking in a way that I usually do, and not thinking about how these answers are coming up? So that's the interesting thing. But I think the more that you just reflect back on the experience and you also listen to yourself, you can tell that like there's something else happening than the basic conscious intelligence. So whatever that is, it's like producing some very helpful insights in a non-resisted way. So I think that's to be appreciated.
Mm-hmm. So when I called your higher self, and after that, what was the difference before when you were having a past life experience versus when I called your higher self? Any difference did you notice?
Yeah, I think it became a little bit less body involved, a little bit less sensory, and a little bit more like, I guess I would say not cloudy in the sense of confused, but more like feeling like you're floating in the sky and you're just being asked all these questions, as opposed to like when you're in the past life and that moment it seems a bit more tactile because you're reporting senses, feeling of the body. And then as soon as you kind of come out of that space, you're feeling like, yeah, more spacey, I guess.
Kind of looking below from above, kind of feeling, sensation, detached sensation.
Yeah, detached, a bit more objective, but still caring.
Very nice.
Yeah.
So people who are really that, their brain was thinking, yeah, I expect this, but it's not happening. And it's supposed to be happening, but it's not doing it. And they're keeping thinking, right?
Yeah.
And then from your experience, I mean, you've done only once, and then from your experience, what would you suggest to these people? We call it high ego people or left brain people, but exactly, we humans all use left and right brain, as you know, and then most of us using both sides. But some people are specifically into analyzing each and every sin. And what would you suggest these people to go into deeper?
Well, you could always suggest in the moment, let go, and being reminded that everything is safe is also very helpful. But I think like when you're not in the session and you're noticing like maybe repeatedly that it's difficult to get in there, maybe some free exercises, right? Just anything like what you suggest before appointments, and that you need to either keep talking or free write or free draw, something which stops you from stopping yourself and like censoring yourself and putting something over, because that's when I think you kind of pick up maybe like a false vision, or you start to create, or those things might come in at that point.
There is no false vision or right vision anyway, because whatever comes, you just speak out, right?
Yeah.
And from there, we have to go, whatever comes. We have to start from somewhere. And some people are really close their mind, say, well, I supposed to have a booming voice coming, and I supposed to be totally not remembering, so. And what would you, just been through one examples, that what was your finding when people say those things?
Which things specifically? Sorry.
It's supposed to be not remembering and all that kind of, the understanding some people have.
Yeah, I think like it can get in the way, but one of the things which is hard to remember sometimes is that if haven't had an experience and then we have the experience, you might not even know if you've had that because you don't have anything to measure it up against previously. So it's like you might have already found or stumbled into what you're looking for, and you might not even know it because you don't know what it looks like when you get there, right? Nobody's told you, and it's individual for you.
Exactly. This is nobody expects these things. It's beyond, it just comes to you and you just have to talk it out, right? And then I was usually saying to people that coming from the real experience, I told all these things, keep talking, whatever comes to you and all that. The guys just kept their mouth shut.
Yeah.
And then, and all the way through all the questions, I brought him out, and then I asked the question, okay, now what happened? When I asked questions, anything came to your mind? Oh, yeah. And the guy says, well, but I thought I was making it all up. So he didn't say anything, right? So so when I asked question again, he said, oh, this is what I had. So he's got all the answers for his questions. But I kept, telling everybody this example, same thing. When you say and keep quiet, tight mouth, then he loses all the benefits. Because one answer, when I ask more questions, you get so many more answers and benefit of it. And he got shortchanged himself.
That's right.
So when I asked this kind of a suggestion to you, keep talking. And when you kept talking, then what did you find? The images kept coming to you?
Yeah, I found like more details came easily, and they also sort of like relayed back to the original thing. So it started to paint a scene more and more, and then it created this loop where so I'm getting something very general, and then I start to talk more, and then I hear that, and then I see it more, and then it starts to add more details, and then it starts to become like it makes sense as a scenario.
Very good. You just proved it, right? Because telling me what you are seeing, just, in the beginning, general, and then I ask more questions, then you get to see more detail and more, right? So
Yes.
you get the full spectrum of the questions, the whole answer for one question, and how much more understanding you had. It's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think it's important to note that like yeah, you're asking the questions, but it's all coming from, me as the person who's having the treatment, so it's like the more you talk, whether it's correct or not even, let's say correct, but like whether or not it strikes you immediately as like the most impactful piece of advice, it's like it's all gonna come from you and in that state. So it's like just keep talking, just keep providing more details, and that will give you more to work with later on.
Well, very good. I'm glad that you explained it very nicely. So whoever watches this talk, and then hopefully their mind is sort of free from doubts from that point of view. That's very good. So anything that you keep journaling to your higher self or talk to your higher self? The exercise I gave you, do you continue that?
So I haven't really been doing the writing, but I've been doing like definitely more descriptive sort of stuff. So focusing more on, the components of what's coming up. And also, yeah, I as I've mentioned before, just listening to the recordings again helps to integrate things and helps you trust more and reinforce those lessons that are coming forth because they're very much tailored to me in my life. So
Oh,
they're
very
really
much so.
applicable. Yeah.
Yeah, because you are shown one of the past life, but some people, they get to show the current life. It depends. Depends whether it's relative to the person's need, right? And so some people say, oh, I want the past life. Yes, surely they can get past life, but it doesn't mean that they have to see the past life.
Yeah.
And, I don't know whether I talk about this thing before, but one person says, not only one, but a few people. How many lives did I have on the planet Earth? And higher self says, well, why do you want to know? You lived more than 7,000 times. So what do you want to know about it? It's too many.
Yeah.
You've done too many, right? So he was saying, yeah, okay, I don't need it. So basically he wanted to know what kind of life that he was most interested in compared to this current life. And obviously they tell what is relevant. And of course, when I ask, okay, what kind of past life is relevant, if they don't see past life, they tell you, they provide that information. Doesn't mean the person sees that for the past life review, because they get whatever they need. Yeah, so they get what they want from their higher self, but what they need, they will be shown as a past life review, any review that they have, right? Yeah.
And that's really cool that that's something else that's continued on through past the getting the treatment is that you know, there's more of a willingness to be shown things. Like you get the sense that like, okay, I'm also being shown things. And then you're also more willing to ask for answers just to different questions. It's like that channel opens through having seen yourself go through it in that QHHT circumstance. So now that can carry on knowing that the source for those answers is there as well.
So when I asked your higher self about past life, were you also have visuals came to you?
A little bit. That part was kind of hard to access. I think like I noticed the most delay in terms of when I look back and I hear the answer. It's like, yeah, because maybe it's hard to divide it up because there are so many past life experiences, but it's like sorting through. It's like, what's the most meaningful?
Yeah, did you sense your higher self was sorting through all the information?
Yeah. It's like really just trying to find like, it could give so much information, but then it's like, what do you need to hear now kind of thing?
Yeah, because some of the occasions where one client actually, she heard her higher self say, no, not this, not this, not this, not this, not this. It's like a book of something, and then higher self was flipping around the pages, kind of, right?
Wow, that's cool.
So, you know, it's they have every access of it. Whereas with this a couple of hours when they're under the trance, because simply, as I mentioned before, our body could not sustain that high energy more than that. So simply for that reason. So when you are about a couple of hours and closing to almost 2 hours mark, what did you feel about your body? Any sensation of getting tired or anything?
I didn't immediately feel tired. I just felt very balanced and if anything, like energized towards the end. Like, yeah, it does really feel like waking up from a nap, but you were like alert the whole time. So it's almost like the body just found this kind of like, well, it's relaxing, but then also throughout the time, the body's scan is happening. So that really helps to release tension as you're lying there. So you would think that you might lie there and you're holding still, so tension might come up, but I think it's the reverse. That's what I experienced.
When your session, when your higher self was fixing some of your body, you were moving your jaws and making sound of it. Were you aware of that?
Yeah, I was.
And you were consciously moving your jaws and the mouth?
Not kind of like half and half. Yeah.
So kind of you were aware, and that they were doing the jobs on your jaws as well, right?
Yeah.
Because you were making all the pop sound and everything. So I was amazed.
Realignment, yeah.
Yeah. So it was amazing, and I was curious at that moment where, you know, your conscious mind was aware of what's happening or doing it consciously. That was my curiosity. So you were not doing consciously, were you?
So I do the realignment consciously, like usually in normal life, but I think in the time when I was in the therapy, I think that was happening mostly unconsciously.
Yeah. Very interesting. Here I am sitting, conscious mind is wondering, now, is he aware consciously doing that, or is it just the higher self, right? But I didn't want to mention any conscious mind just in case you may pop, right? So I wasn't there to ask that questions. Excellent. So anything else that did you find that interesting from your session?
No, not too much. I just find like, if anything, maybe it was surprising that over time, the vision of the past life seems to get clearer as I hear it more.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, the scene seems to paint itself a little bit. So it's almost like it unpacks a little bit over time.
Oh, so you get more details.
Yeah, when immediately I just felt like I was just seeing like outlines and colors and just basic scene. And then after a while, it seems to become a little bit more movie-like. Wow,
that's fascinating. So that proves the point where Dolores always asks, listening the recording often. It kind of proves the benefit of, right?
Oh yeah, I would very much suggest that. I think like yeah, it's as equally important as doing the session, just listening.
Very nice.
When you're really like in a place to just let yourself hear it.
Very good. So if you know that someone is considering and they're hesitating, something holds back, and sometimes people have a fear, apprehension. What if I reveal my secrets that I don't want to let anybody know? What would you advise to these people?
Well, I would say that I feel very much like the privacy is protected throughout the whole process. And then I think like, yeah, it's just going to be you having access to your tape. And then like, so what if you might say something that you actually feel you have some resistance towards or even disagree with. So it's like, well, then that's your opportunity to dialogue with yourself, but it gives you a chance to hear another or even a voice that does confirm what you believe. So it just gives you more, I guess, fuel for inner dialogue. And yeah, you don't really have anything to lose. It just might give you a different perspective or help reinforce how you're seeing things, and then it gives you more faith that you know, you're in line with your higher intelligence, and then there's no problem. Otherwise, it tells you how you can change or improve.
Yeah, and also to people who are afraid of revealing their own secret, there's no such a risk, because if they know that it's utmost confidence information, the higher self will protect them not to say it. And so therefore, no worries about leaking out any confidential stuff. So we know for sure that, as you already felt, secured and private confidentiality. And asking to people who is afraid of revealing too much that they don't want to, there's no risk. If they feel that way, the higher self protects it. The information never comes out. Totally protected. I'm just reiterating what you said. Okay. So anything else would you like to share with other people?
No, and just I'm grateful for the experience, the insights, the new sort of access to self, and just, feel like there's some added tools to navigate through things. So yeah, it's been a great experience and very thankful.
That is very nice of you, and I thank you for sharing your experience. So now, until we see again, and you take care. Have a great day.
Thanks so much. Take care soon. Bye.